A very good morning, students. Welcome back to the third class of Human Resource Management. Now, the first class we did with what is Human Resource Management, the meaning, definition, scope and importance. And the second class we did with what are the various functions of Human Resource Management. Today we are going to do with the next concept, which is Human Resource Planning. Before we start with what is Human Resource Planning, let us brush through what we did in the earlier two classes so that we come in a flow. What is human resource management? Management of human resource in an organization. Human is a very important resource. The 4 M's: men, money, material and machines. So these are the 4 important resources in an organization. To see that I have an effective and efficient utilization of money, material and the machine, I need to have the best of men in an organization so that I achieve the organizational goal of my organization, both from the organization point of view and also societal point of view. Then we did with the functions of human resource management, which is planning. What is human resource planning? Recruitment, selection, training and development, placement, providing them with incentives, performance appraisal, looking into the welfare of what I give to the human resource or the employees in my organization, etc. So the first function of human resource management is human resource planning. Hope all of you are clear till here. Human resource management, the importance, functions, and now we will do with the first functions, which is the human resource planning. Now the very word planning means thinking well in advance what we need to do, or planning well in advance what we need to do. Before going into the human resource planning process, we have so many firms which come in for interviews as you plan. So do you think they plan in earlier, or they have a pre-plan of how the interview needs to be taken, or what are the kind of employees that they need to hire? Do they have an idea of it, or they just randomly come and they take an interview and select an employee as per their requirements? How is it? The reality is it's not simple to come and take an interview. The firm also plans the requirement of the applicants according to their need. This will make them available the best applicant for the best job. This is what we are going to do in human resource planning, wherein let's go with the next slide. So what are we going to cover up today? The definition, objectives of human resource planning and the steps in human resource planning. Definition. According to Coleman, human resource planning is the process of determining manpower requirements of an organization and the means for meeting those requirements in order to carry out the integrated plan of the organization. Let me read through once again. It is the process of determining manpower requirements of an organization and the means for meeting those requirements in order to carry out the integrated plan of the organization. So it is basically the process of getting the right number of qualified people into the right job at the right time so that organizational objectives can be met. Now let's take this current scenario which is going on, COVID, coronavirus. There have been so much of lockdowns, people are unable to move, only 10% of the staff are able to go. Do you think human resource planning has a role here also? Yes, we do have a role of the human resource planning here also. In certain situations where a technological updation is required, or when we are going to a pandemic condition, we need to plan how is it that we are going to get our work done through these employees. So we plan it accordingly, be it work from home, how is it that I'm going to assign them work, the deadline fixed, everything. So all of it gets changed. So human resource planning is not only recruiting and selection, but also at present, if there is a change in technology, or if there is a pandemic situation like which is happening now, in that situation, how does it that I utilize the humans or the employees in my organization? What are the changes that I bring in? Is the current staff enough for me? Looking also into the scenario that I'm not having any income. So all these play an important role, based on which the human resource planning is applicable, wherein they plan up how is it that I am going to utilize the employees of an organization without during these within this situations where people are not able to move from one place to another, and health is the foremost important. So keeping all this into consideration, every organization does a planning of how do I utilize my employees or extract work from him so that my work is not stopped and the organizational goals are achieved. Clear? Okay, this is it. It is basically the process of getting the right number of qualified people into the right job at the right time so that the organizational objectives can be met. So be it if there is any other situation which arises, the organizational work should not stop, but it should go and my objectives should be achieved. Now what are the objectives? To focus the personal needs and requirements. It might be, for instance, the current scenario which we take. What are the needs that I need from my employee? What are the requirements, and how is it that every firm wants its employees to be skilled and efficient. No one wants to hire those employees who can't work in their particular industry. So they focus on what is the forecast, that is what is the number of employees that is needed, is the current requirement enough. So the first objective is forecast on personal needs and requirements. Cope up with changes in market conditions, technology and government regulations. Now there might be a change, might be a market conditions, like there might be a demand for another product, or it has become outdated, or a new product has come up so that I'll have to go with that according to that product, or I'll have to upgrade myself to that product. The technology has been changed, or there have been new government regulations. The earlier one, for instance, if plastic was banned, then in place of it, what is it that I will have to use? So cope up with the changes in the market conditions. How is it that I am going to get or use the employees in an organization? Using existing manpower efficiently and productively to promote employees in a systematic manner. Any firm wants to be in a long run in an organization. They should be updated themselves with the latest technologies. But having that itself is not just enough. What is the performance productivity that each employees at the end of the year? We do a performance appraisal to see that how efficiently the employee has worked. According to the effort put in, there is a grading system which is followed, and if he has overachieved of what his objectives which were assigned to him, there needs to be something which needs to be motivated to an employee so that he works more efficiently and he stays in an organization moreover. So we do a performance, how efficiently the employee has worked. According to it, I need to promote the employees in a systematic manner depending on the financial conditions also of the organization. So it is not just maintaining not only looking into the personal, what is the requirements that an organization needs, but I also look into what is the need of an employee, and I give him a growth opportunity in my organization itself. Clear? The fourth one is to maintain a balance between distribution and allocation of employees. Distribution is the number of employees that I have in each unit, and allocation of employees is again almost the same thing. How total number of employees. For example, in Salesforce, how many employees do I have? In marketing, how many employees do I have? Is that sufficient, or do I need to shuffle? If the sales is less, how do I increase that? So I need to maintain a balance between the distribution and allocation of employees. The next step is to ensure adequate supply of manpower as and when required. There might be that the demand has increased or the sales have increased. So in that cases, I would need the supply of manpower also to be increased. So in that case, or if I have a new product which is coming up, in that case, how do I ensure that I have the current supply of manpower as and when? So as and when required, I should see that or ensure that there are adequate number of humans or employees in my organization. And lastly, it is to assess surplus and shortages in workforce. Now, this is a very important factor to assess surplus and shortages. It might happen that, like in a situation of today, there might be a surplus of employees which I am having, but I do not have any work for them. So in that case, how do I manage or how do I plan for the other employees? There might be a situation that I find that there is surplus of employees wherein the workload is less. So what do I do? Do I have a new project which is coming up? Do I assign them with something else, or do I give them promotion? Do I lay off? So these are the various things which I think when there are surplus. And when there is shortage, of course, when there is a shortage, I will need to find out what is the shortage, in which department is the shortage, what is the manpower requirement, what is the qualification, skills, etc. required, according to which I will recruit or I will look in for new candidates or new employees. Might be if within the workforce I am able to assign the work, well and good, or where do I get these employees from, within the organization or from outside. So the major objectives again of human resource planning is not to assess what is the surplus and shortages in the workforce. Is that clear? Now let's go through all these objectives once again and see that we are clear. First is forecast, to find out what is the manpower requirement that is needed. Do I need extra manpower, or is the current employee strength enough for me to run or get my objectives? Second one, to cope up with changes in market conditions, technology and government regulations. For instance, typewriter was once upon a time, so I would not be either I train my current employees accordingly or I hire employees accordingly, but it should be cost effective. It should not be an costly affair for me wherein I lay off a current employee and I get a new employee into the organization. So cope up with changes in market conditions, technology and government regulations. Third one, using the existing manpower efficiently and productively to promote employees in a systematic manner. Human or employees are a very important asset. As we did in the first class, it is an asset of an organization. So I put in a lot of money and an effort to train an employee in an organization. So it is my responsibility as an HR that I say that the existing manpower, the existing employee whom I have employed, I see that he is efficiently and productively used. He works efficiently, so that he works efficiently and gives me the results accordingly, and based on the efficiency that he has worked and the productivity that he has given to the organization, I promote him accordingly so that he gets a reward for, or he gets motivated to stay in the same organization itself. Clear with the first three? Fourth one is to maintain a balance between distribution and allocation of employees. Might be I have a various departments like sales, marketing, finance, etc. So I see that there are correct number of, or there are the allocation of employees in each of the departments or accordingly. It should not be that I have very few of them in sales and I have very few in marketing or very few in market or in finance. According to the organization's needs. I don't need so many employees in finance, but I do need many employees in sales so that my sales are increased, and in turn the cycle goes. Like if sales increase, the profit increased, and the management or the salaries of the employees. So I should see that there is that I maintain